CSGO has once again hit a new peak. Despite being 11 years old, this past Sunday the game had more concurrent players than it ever has before. The question on everyone's mind is, why? From a tech perspective, the game is unimpressive. The code is built on a house of cards, and the developers are the absentee parents of the gaming industry. So why the hell is CSGO more popular now than it's ever been before? So, over the weekend, more people were playing CSGO at the same time than any other point in the game's history. The peak was recorded on the 27th at about 9 a.m. with 1,354,248 players, beating out games like Dota 2 and the previous record holder, Lost Ark. Absolutely wild, and you love to see it. Now, for context, its last peak was back in April of 2020, with only about 40,000 fewer. Obviously, that's not a massive gap, but it's important to know that the game dipped significantly after that. That peak was right when the pandemic started popping off and people were stuck at home and they had nothing better to do than pick up baking and tack shooters, apparently. But just like every other trend during that time, CSGO's boost wasn't going to last forever. So I would say the dip was expected. However, this is where it gets interesting. In August of last year, the player base hit 1 million again, and month after month, the game continued to grow and grow and grow, and well, here we are. Now, as much as people have been remarking on the achievement or reminiscing about the day they first installed CSGO, it's also opened a broader discussion about how a decade-old game on a broken engine can still be this successful and keep growing. But here's the thing, there isn't just one concrete answer to this bizarre mystery. So, let's talk about it. To start, let's look at the fundamental reasons why CSGO is so popular. CSGO is part of a franchise, and there are people like myself, most professional players, and many of you who've been playing it since 1.6. But at the same time, there are those who have started much, much later. And since the core of the series has remained the same, it's allowed for the game to span across generations of players. That history and community counts for something. On top of that, CSGO actually has something even more important going for it. It's a really good game. It is crispy, utterly satisfying, endlessly complex, and its mathematical approach to how the game executes from tick to tick is dangerously addictive. And all that is true even when you're spectating. And I'm not exaggerating when I say CSGO is responsible for so many of the fundamentals within the FPS genre. I'm serious. Regardless of what type of game is being made, if it's an FPS, CSGO is at the top of that brainstorming list. And I think the CSGO Twitter account gave a perfect response as to why this is. Because it takes minutes to understand and a lifetime to master. And the more you invest, the greater your returns. The feeling when everything comes together never gets old. Whether it's a one-tap, a perfect spray, a new piece of util, an ace, or a clutch, it's Counter-Strike. That history and fulfilling gameplay. No one else has ever been able to recreate that, and it's why I think so many people keep coming back or starting for the first time. Now, although simply uttering Counter-Strike can feel sufficient, I think there are other, less poetic reasons for CSGO's current success. And one of those biggest reasons is skins. It's no small secret that CSGO's world of cosmetics is a bit of a phenomenon, and the in-game skin economy has its own dedicated following. But it's not just about the novelty of opening cases to try and get a gold. CSGO skins are as unique as fingerprints, could potentially cost millions of dollars, and certain items carry immense history. All those aspects have created a market that doesn't exist in any other game. Hell, to a lot of people out there, the skins are just as important as the game itself. It also helps that certain regions and countries, like China, are massive players in the skin economy, so they consistently boost that player base whenever a new case or operation is dropped. And it just so happens that CSGO released its first case in over 7 months. Yeah, that's how f***ing starved we are by Gaben, that getting a single damn case after over half a year of radio silence creates the largest peak the game has ever seen. We are down tremendously bad. Bitterness aside, it is a new case, and since it's the first one we got in a long time, I could see it being the reason a ton of people came back. Next to that, Valve also added a new map to the active duty pool not too long ago, and so far, Anubis has been an absolute hit. Seriously, the grip that map has on me should be studied. Anyway, forget the Valve praise, because I actually think there's one more reason for CSGO's recent success, one that at first glance might seem a bit odd, because I think it's Valorant. That's right, it might sound crazy, but I think the so-called CSGO killer not only saved the game, but helped it reach new heights altogether. Valorant released around the time of CSGO's last peak, but as I mentioned, since then, CSGO has seen its ups and downs. For the first time since maybe the release of Siege, CSGO had actual competition. And a lot of people went over to try Riot's game, and I'm sure plenty of people stayed. But here's the thing, I don't think they never came back. Don't get me wrong, Valorant is a great game in its own right, and I think CSGO having direct competition is objectively a good thing. That being said, I just think CS is the tighter experience that can't be replaced, especially if it was your first taste of a TAC FPS. On top of that, Valorant brought a ton of new people into the TAC FPS genre. And I think sooner or later, those people were going to want to try CSGO. Maybe the new case, the new map, and the fact that the esports is the best it's been in a long time made it the perfect reason for people to try it. The final question is, will this be CSGO's highest peak? And regardless of the answer to that question, what does its future look like? Listen, it's one of my all-time favorite games and definitely my favorite competitive game. And I think it's going to go down as the most important shooter of all time. But as I said at the start, CSGO is a flawed game. And more than any of its technical issues, its biggest problem is Valve's lack of communication. Sure, they made a game so goddamn good that they don't even have to make content for it. And honestly, respect. But how much longer is that going to last for? If I'm at least partially right and people are coming back to CS or trying it for the first time because of a new map and anime skins, how long are they going to stay when they realize that's all they're getting for months? Now, with all that being said, I don't want to rain on the parade too much because this overall is sick. CSGO is more popular than it's ever been in its entire history, and that's honestly heartwarming. So let me pass the questions off to you guys. Why do you love CSGO so much? And why do you keep coming back time and time again? Anyway, that's all I got. I love you guys. See you in the next one. Favorite maps in the history of Counter-Strike. D-Rats, #1. FY Ice World. FY Pool Day, another good one. Surf Egypt. Assault. CS Assault is one of the greatest maps of all time. It's one of the worst maps of all time, like from an actual balance perspective, but also one of the greatest. Vibes all around. Cobble. Bring back Cobble. Bring back D-Rats. Why are there no D-Rat servers anymore?